Welcome back to the show, The Leading Force. With us, we have again Pravasi Sammanit, Dr. Surendra Kaushik, eminent teacher, economist, philanthropist, and a visionary. And Dr. Kaushik, you said America is serious about India. Is India serious?
India is serious about America too. They're engaging, but they also have their independence in terms of the regional matters and technologies and policies. But India is serious in terms of the future growth and development of India.
That I understand. Yeah. India is serious for its internal issues for
Right.
growth and development because they tasted the success. But to let the outsiders come in a way to say, look at what happened to FDI, Walmart, disaster in December.
Yes.
For no reason.
Yes.
It was not requiring any votes, but the way, of course, government unveiled it created a political ruckus.
Yeah.
But do you think FDI investment in real estate in India, retails, is good idea?
Well, generally speaking, my view is that the globe is becoming one economy. And of course, different countries are at different stages of opening up their system. But generally speaking, more trade, more investment is where we are heading. And India has opened up this door in 91.
So this is like momentary?
This is very momentary. So in the long-term trend is, and as I said, nobody has a bigger long-term philosophy of this planet being one family and one home than the Indian Vedic thought on that.
Kutum.
Right, Vasudeva Kutumbakam. So, I mean, we start with that. That's our first proposition, that the world is one home. Now, if you therefore look at today's technology and trade investment and the shrinking world, and that you can get within 2, 3, 4 hours anything made anywhere on your table or in your hotel or in your office, that tells you where we're going. So India philosophically, spiritually is very, very serious. It is just the institutions and Indian modern system of administration and education and industry, all those things are being reformed as needed, a little slower than one perhaps like. So just like we had no hesitation in getting new seed and technology and fertilizer and so on in terms of green revolution, which the Indian farmers did because they were given those inputs and they spread those on their land, and there you have the result. In other words, today small business, medium business, large industry in India is doing the same thing. And once you give them the opportunity, they will invite and they will have partners from abroad.
So you think this is only temporary?
Yeah, we already see most very large number of American multinationals already
MNCs
in India.
Are all over. But on the other hand, now you come back to US. You just heard again in the State of the Union address by President Obama. He's become inward now. He's talking about no outsourcing, higher tax measures, strict discipline, and whatnot. Is America becoming inward now?
No, I was talking with my class the other day that the concept of the short term and the long term. And of course, in the short term, the local politics, election timing, and economic conditions, they all play a role. So the president, of course, is campaigning. And obviously, his job is, to the extent we have countries, his job is to create American jobs and compete with China and India and other places on tax rates and on incentives and import-export policies and so forth. So I'm not surprised that he's using the opportunity of this condition of election.
It's the election year campaign, I guess.
In other words, he should have done some of these things 3 years ago. And had he done it, America would be in a much better economic shape today.
So you also believe that we should not go all out for outsourcing. There should be certain kind of discipline about it, otherwise we're losing jobs.
Right, but as President said, and I agree with him, and this is my personal view also, as I share with my classes, that it is ultimately the technology
which will
and new products and new innovations. And there already we know that no other country comes anywhere near America in terms of new ideas, new technologies, new products, innovation, whether it's industry or consumer goods or finance and so forth. Sometimes big mistakes are made, as in finance, but the innovation idea, the new products and services, Nobody comes close.
So you have a very high view that U.S. will strike back.
Right, and the president is focusing it all on science and knowledge, and saying we have to beef that up, in other words. And he's going to give more scholarships and cheaper loans to students and all kinds of things, while also allowing the foreign intellectuals to settle here, give them easier visa access, and let them stay in America instead of getting American education going back. So he's doing all those things to feed the American growth story based on science and technology and knowledge. That of course will also increase the knowledge base elsewhere. So in the long term, it's good for everybody.
So you would give him a second chance?
Based on last night, I think he did superbly well. And of course, he did not directly hit the unemployment situation at that point. But he said, of course, the financial crisis created it, which is true. But now he's changing gears. And if half of what he proposed is approved, I think the job situation will also improve. So it's not entirely. Some of it sounds like and is, closing the door, so to speak. But to the extent we have minimally remaining concept of a nation state on the economic side of it, most of it has already disappeared because of open borders for everything. Any quantity, anything comes and goes. In that environment, to focus on the local economy, national economy is a very difficult thing. But after all, this is his job to focus the jobs for Americans. So, and he's going the right way about it. Instead of saying we will not import, will not do this or that, or will punish other countries or change the exchange rate, whatever. No, he's saying let us be more productive to be able to compete with foreign goods and services.
India stock exchange has hit 17,000. Some people say it's still a bubble, and we have been consistently at a high number. You think it's a bubble?
Well, every time I go to India, I see accelerating growth and also clogged up, highways and the arteries of economic life and roads and.
Well, we are a
so
small country and we have a larger population.
Exactly, and we opened up the system very fast, like
right.
automobiles and so on.
Right.
So there seems to be the land prices, the building prices, and so on. Really have zoomed out of sight. And there's plenty of cash in India to go around because there's a lot of cash transactions taking place for all those kinds of things. So there is a bubble in the sense that expectation of a long-term 10% growth
is not possible.
Is a little bit out of. It's a good dream, but. And whether India can do it like China, which did it for 30 years, it's a little bit questionable.
You said earlier in the discussion that one of the most important elements if India braces up, maybe we can do, which is education.
Yeah. You
have personally, I think it's with your wife, taken an extraordinary venture in India in 2000, Helena Kaushik Institute that you have opened the foundation.
Yeah.
What is that project about?
Well,
you believe Indian women have never been given their due in education.
Yeah, that's why I said earlier that as a child, what I noticed in the village and who is important and what is important, and the independence and Gandhi's images and Chacha Nehru's image and so on, and the importance of education and the access to it. Is critical, especially higher education, because formally, most people in this world, anywhere, do not get to be in decision-making officer position unless they have formal college education.
Which is, I guess.
And India, thus far, very few people had it. Up to now, even now, my estimate is that no more than around 5%, maybe 5.5% of all Indians, 1.2 billion people, have college education. And among women, it's maybe 2% or less. So it's a long ways to go. But on the other hand, if you look at that 5%, and half of those 5% are outside, like you and me, outside of India, just imagine what the remaining 2.5%, 3% maybe of Indians who have college education what an incredible productivity they have and where they're taking India. Now just imagine India going in that respect towards US levels. US has 28% of its population with college level education. India has 6%. Suppose India reaches 12%, 10% of its population. That will be some 140 million people. And if they have that high productivity, 3-4 times the American productivity, you can imagine where India will be. You see, and that's my basis. So we focus on education, particularly higher education, because our effort really started in 1996, because I went on a sabbatical to India and lectured in many places, at the end of which I decided to undertake this project and focus on higher education and focus on girls' higher education and do it in a village.
What a noble cause.
Instead of doing in Mumbai or Delhi or Jaipur and so on. To demonstrate that A, it needs to be done, B, we have to do it, C, we can do it from far away.
Looking back 10 years today, you think you are somewhere closer to your goal with that institute?
Oh, very much so, very much so. We have, by this June, we'll have some 1,100 plus graduates with BA, MA, BSc, MSc, B.Ed, and so on degrees. And the thrilling thing is that some 80 to 90% of all these graduates not only have gotten on to better families, more educated and richer families, marrying into, but they are all working out in the market as teachers and as government servants and so on. So education is being used, in other words. And India needs a lot of teachers. India needs education because it's opening up. Private sector, public sector, more primary schools, more secondary schools, more
you
colleges.
said somewhere you teach or educate or train an individual. You are training an individual, but if you train, teach, educate a woman,
right,
you are creating a family.
Family, and every generation, succeeding generation will have that.
Very nice.
And so the multiply effect that you achieve is tremendous. So we focused on that at the time because back in 96, 97, this was not on the map, this was not in the scope, even Government of India or Government of Rajasthan and certain so on, and doing these things in village. But now it has become the mantra, and I'm glad it has become the mantra. And at every level, government and private sector are spending a lot of money in investing in education technology in India.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for coming on our show, Dr. Surendra Kaushik. You have done extraordinary work in the last 40 years and we expect more from you.
Yeah, thank you.
And congratulations to you, your wife, for Helena Institute, which has created 1,100 plus graduates, and I'm sure you will expand. And congratulations to you from all our viewers, all of us, your fellow Indians and Americans, for getting the highest honors.
Thank you so much, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was Dr. Surendra Kaushik with us, eminent economist, philanthropist, visionary, and an academician on top of that, choosing the path of becoming a teacher and now expanded into India, creating a wonderful institution with us on The Leading Force. We bring to you week after week. Stay right there. Every week we'll bring another luminary to you. This is Sunil Hali signing off on The Leading Force with you. Thank you.